Okay, so me and the Mesilla Valley Grotto's been doing the restoration project at Palomas Cave, and Steve Pearman had told me not long ago that the Apache tribe, the Mescaleros, and the Forest Service plan to gate it. Which is probably good. I just hope that the gating can be done where it doesn't impact the pictographs in it. Okay, so. Who's been to Palomas Cave? Raise up your hand. About 1/3 of the people. It's an interesting place to go to. So when the next time we do a project out there, you might want to consider coming out to it. It's kind of a small cave, but it's interesting that it has right in this area right here. It has some Apache pictographs. That's what it looks like. John Lyles in October added some more ceiling heights to it, which is good. So this is what you see at the entrance there. This little group of pictographs. It's the Apache style that Carol is giving you an example with a human scale of what the site looks like. So it's right here. But also to the north of the main entrance is two more entrances, and both of them have pictographs at them also. These are the ones that I'm kind of worried about. Will the gate impact these ones? It's going to be quite a job to build this gate. Steve, what was the name of that guy that's going to build the gate?
Tom Gilliland.
Tom Gilliland. Okay. I wanted to give you guys an idea of the Apache style. Now, cavers, in our pursuits out there, we come to different rock formations, shelters, and caves. And when it comes to caves, usually right at the entrance, you'll find, you may or may not find, if there's rock art there, it'll be at the entrance. It seems to be kind of the pattern. And so, but I wanted to give you guys just an idea of what the Apache style is. So you saw that example that's at Palomas Cave. Here is the Florida Mountains. See, where's Linda Starr at? Where's it? Oh, she's not here. Well, this right here is an Apache ritual site that she and I and her husband Bob hiked to. This is a really rough hike to go up to this one, because you're going to this kind of erosional feature up there near the very top of the mountains, and there's several other locations I've been told up on top that have more of this stuff. And this is a tectonic crack that these are in. So this is a site that's not been meant to be seen by the public in that time period. It's historical art, and it's up in this tectonic crack. It's really hard to get to this thing. What we're looking at, there's an archaeologist named Denny Seymour that said if you have figures like this with horns on them, if it's 2 horns, it's Mescalero. If it's 3 horns, it's Chiricahua. The Mescaleros and Chiricahua are actually fairly closely related to each other. So this right here would be a mountain spirit dancer. And if you look at the images you'll see today, or go to a mountain spirit dance up at Mescalero during the 4th of July, you'll see people that look just like this. And this, I think, may be a woman. And this when they do the mountain spirit dance, it's the puberty ceremony for women. and they have, the women have really fancy dresses and all that that are made up in preparation for this. So, to give you an idea of Apache style, so there's the two horns. And this is up on top of a mountain. And but mountains and caves are important places to the Apaches. You know, Kaminsky told me years ago that there's a lot of burials, Apache burials in the Guads, which is not there anymore. People have kind of ripped stuff off over the years, which is too bad. Kaminsky got to see a lot of stuff. And these I believe are going to be, when you look at the rock art of the lower Pecos, you see the shamans and they have feathers coming off their elbows like that. So I'm probably, this is similar to what that is. Now, to give you an idea of how big these are, you know, they're that big. Quite a trip to get up there to see these things. We're lucky we actually found this. We went on the hike. We weren't really sure where this was at, but we found it. Now, with this stuff is this guy. And one thing about the Apaches, when they show Hispanics or Anglos, in other words, the other guys, not them, they like to make a hat that looks like that. And it's like their rendition of the hat is as though the person's head is back and it's not thin, but it's thick. And every time that there's historical, you run into stuff that's historical, that shows Anglos or Hispanics, that's what the hat looks like. Now, now we jump from Deming, the Floridas, right over to Alto, to near Rio Doso, to the Macaw site in Eagle Creek. And this is interesting that most of the site's a prehistoric site. It's got 14th century stuff and all that. But right in the middle of it is this battle scene going on. And you see people fighting with each other here. Hard to see it, isn't it? I mean, when you're there, it's hard to see it, hard to photograph it. But then there's this thing called D-stretch. Now, this is a technology that's been around for about 20 years. And it's something it costs you about 20 bucks on the Play Store. You can get a version for your iPhone, and there's another version for Androids. There's a series of formulas that when you take a picture of even a blank wall, you think there might be something there. You go through a series of formulas, yellow, blue, green formulas that, and you're trying to make your way through the calcite occlusion that's there and other things like that, which this does. And you know, before D-stretch, if people wanted to look, which is it was a bad idea, but if they wanted to look at rock art like this, they would take and spray it with water, and it would make the calcite disappear. So almost all these pictographs throughout the West have got calcite occlusions over them if they've been around for a long time, from dust and other kinds of stuff accreting to it. So you see the combatants here. There's the guy with that hat, which is interesting. Here's this guy here with a scalp lock, I think. You see another person with a scalp lock or headdress going back, fighting this guy here. This guy here looks like he's being stabbed. This may be a saber. This might be a guy from Fort Stanton, actually. The battle scene. There you see a horse. And that's again the scene you'll see if you don't have D-stretch with you. There's this guy here here's a blow up of that guy with the quote unquote saber. And then the D-stretch. You all might want to consider putting this on your phones for when you're out at a cave or you see a shelter and there might be something there. Take a picture and go through the series of formulas and see what you got. And then let me know when you find something really cool. Over near Roswell is the Garnsey site. Probably Apache or maybe Humano. This is, I believe this is going to be a contact site. A lot of these are, you know, they're contact sites of a sort, but these ones are really interesting. The Coronado expedition passed about 30 miles east of here on their way back. And this is on the Pecos. It's a bison kill site where they would run the bison into a trap, not off a cliff, but into straight into one of the Spaniards, Castaño de Sosa, mentions all along the Pecos they would see corrals off over on the escarpment, and that's not so. There's probably a good number of bison kill sites that are all along the Pecos, and so these guys here all have crosses. This guy I suspects a priest, and they have slashed sleeves. They have things that make it look like this might be Renaissance period, you know, 16th century. My wife and I spent a nice cold day recording this stuff and getting this all drawn up like this. Wow. Jumping back over to Eagle Creek, you got that horse there. And one thing about horses in art, after 1855, after the Western artists like Catlin come out here, the horses become realistic. So you can kind of see that what I've showed you so far, even the Apache cave up in the Floridas is not quite realistic. Those are probably going to be pre-1855. What's interesting about Catlin, he was here in the Gila recording the Gila Apaches in 1855, which is, and then almost overnight, the art style amongst tribes all across the West and the plains and all that changed into more realistic looking figures on horseback. And I think they're showing movement here. The horse is galloping, which is something that goes back for a long time amongst other kinds of animals like the bighorn sheep and things like that. Now here, there's a horse. And there's a guy with these flash sleeves in red, the Garnsey site, Roswell. And it's really interesting. You got this cross hatching going on. And in the Renaissance period, they didn't have chainmail on their legs. The chainmail is a medieval thing, chainmail pants. So that's there's some indicators that that this is possibly a Coronado. This right there, probably a wolfhound. You know, wolfhound. The Spanish had these man-killing dogs with them. They had a lot of these big wolfhounds that came with them on these expeditions and all that. They could sick them on people, and those dogs would take them down. That's probably what you're looking at in that. Now this is the Renaissance guy here, 16th century. It could be that you're looking at a 16th century thing, but there's other things at the site that kind of make me think it's much earlier. It's interesting on some of these. So that's what happens when you're at Palomas Cave, and you apply D-stretch to that figure, which seems to be a central figure. What's interesting about the D-stretch in this case, it doesn't really pick up the hands too well, if that's what they are. Val Hildreth thought maybe this person's holding some hats, some Anglo or Hispanic hats. What's interesting when you apply the D-stretch to it, and you can do this in the field with your phone, is all of a sudden we see that these figures are superimposed on something else. So going back, you don't really get a sense that there's something here. You kind of see something, but you're not sure. And it's really an interesting group of photos of there's this is superimposed over that, which appears to be superimposed over the red, or maybe the red and the black are part of the same piece of art. This appears to be a dog. Sometimes the D-stretch doesn't quite work, and it's just a matter of photography. So here is one of Val's pictures of that, and you can see what appear to be fingers, maybe 4 of them here, maybe 3 of them here. And then this shows up a little bit better than the D-stretch, except for that. The north entrance that had those rocks piled up. One thing about pictures when you're out walking around and you come up to an entrance to a shelter or a cave and it's got a pile of rocks, sometimes that might be because they were using that as a sheep pen, or sometimes if it's Palomas Cave is Warm Springs Apache territorial, Victorio. They're actually eastern Chiricahuas, and this is the north entrance. There's 3 entrances to the north of the main entrance, and you're going through the formulas, and we're not quite seeing what's there. Going back a little bit, you kind of see that, and there's an initial right there. And there's much more stuff here than I have examples of. But there's the formula that shows you. You can see the initial carved into the rock there, but there's this line right here, and something going on right there. And so this is when we talk to the Forest Service about this, we really haven't talked to them about this before they do their gating. We're concerned that they could destroy this if they're not aware of what's going on here.
Get in there with better light and a better situation to just be prepared to see all this and document it.
So here's the restoration work that was done in October. And there's a number of things that we started looking at that we decided to check out with D-stretch to double check. Every place that there was the graffiti spray paint, we photographed it, and also places in between. And further back in the passage, which is kind of unusual, we think we're seeing some more pictographs. Now, if you Slaughter Canyon Cave got pictographs back in the dark zone. We wrote about that years ago, and Carol helped do that one. That was pretty cool. When you go to Carlsbad Cabin and you see the site right there at the entrance, there's more pictographs just further on in. And in fact, as you're walking down into the natural entrance, that you go from the kind of dry area to the wet area, that ledge up above has pictographs all along it also. And that's a pretty dangerous ledge. You go out on that ledge, and that ledge goes like this, and it's wet. So these figures here we're interested in these. It kind of suggests legs, like torso. There's something interesting right here and there and here. So when you're doing restoration projects, this is where de-stretch is really important. You can kind of make a determination of what might be left alone and what you could take out. So in this case, this is kind of a very tenuous situation here. And you can see it, but that, those, that red underneath is the same as that red object there. This stuff here is in de-stretch. This is this de-stretch color of the natural rock. So that's something you're going to see in de-stretch that you have to be aware of. So when you go, going back, you see that, and going forward, you see this. So you have to be, this is very revealing, on the spot revealing. We probably made a little bit of an error here. Oops. Steve was marking the sections, and then that's done for scale. But really, we probably shouldn't have been. We might have made a screen or something like that where we stood stuff off of the wall. I got in trouble years ago by the Carlsbad BLM for putting up on a pictograph site in the Guads of putting stick-on letters, and they said, you pull those off, and you can be pulling pigment off, so you have to be super careful. Again, the value of de-stretch is you can also take a look at that surface right there before you do something like that. And you can see, in fact, that so this is an interesting figure because when you go back, you see these. So when you see things that look like horns, you have to kind of think, okay, is this going to be Apache? Maybe or maybe not. In the de-stretch, it's a little bit more evident. There's nothing here, apparently, but our little marker right here was an issue. But then the nice thing about what might be the saving grace is the blue tape, which doesn't stick like other kinds of tape, it's
Thank you, good about 5 minutes.
okay. Another location. I believe this is we're interested in this right here. This is historic inscriptions. This appears to be an arrow. And that, and then I think it indicates the way out, although the way out at this point is very, very simple. It's not far away. Well, there's something really going on right here. We need to spend more time taking a better look at this. These lines right here were removed during the restoration project. So they're gone. There's stuff here. And there's something here. And that's it. Everybody have any questions? Okay. Everybody go out and buy G-stretch.